Before we begin, let's slow this moment down. This isn't about the splash in the water. It isn't about headlines or legends or whether they survived. This is about the hours before movement, when hope hasn't proven itself yet. 1. What moment are we observing? Alcatraz. Night. The prison breathes the way old buildings do. Slow, metallic, patient. The lights hum. The bay whispers beyond the walls, cold and indifferent. Inside the cells, men lie still, not asleep, listening. This is what happens before an escape. Counting steps, replaying plans, testing silence, waiting for guards to pass, waiting for the sound of keys, waiting for the right kind of nothing. Nothing moves yet. That's the point. 2. What do we usually remember instead? We remember the legend. Raincoats stitched into rafts, dummy heads, a daring plunge into black water, the question mark that followed. But we skip the preparation, the months of quiet risk where failure meant punishment, exposure, or death long before freedom was even attempted. Escapes are remembered for motion. They are built in stillness. 3. What was truly dangerous here? Not just the swim. The water was cold enough to steal breath, the current strong enough to erase bodies, the darkness thick enough to disorient even the determined. But the real danger came earlier. A cough at the wrong time, a guard pausing longer than usual, a sound that didn't belong. Silence in a prison isn't safety, it's scrutiny. Every night before the escape was already a test. Every night they stayed put was a risk they chose to take again. 4. Why does this moment matter? Because freedom doesn't begin with movement. It begins with rehearsal, with patience, with the willingness to sit inside uncertainty long enough to believe in a future you might never reach. Most people imagine freedom as an event, but here, freedom was a discipline, measured breaths, controlled fear, commitment without applause. The night before the escape reminds us that hope isn't loud. It doesn't announce itself. It practices quietly while the world assumes nothing is happening. 5. Why begin a walk before action? Because the escape itself is only proof. The real story is the waiting, the decision to try again tonight instead of giving up, the courage to stay still when panic demands movement. If we start with the splash, we miss the cost. If we start with the legend, we lose the humanity. The walk begins before action because that's where freedom is chosen. Without witnesses, without guarantees, and without certainty that the story will end well. That's why this moment matters, not because they escaped, but because they prepared to. And when the walk begins, it begins there, in the quiet rehearsal of hope, long before anyone dares to move.